my soul so in touch with yours tonight. Won't let my head take flight. We could leave this place, freedom ours to chase. What if I escape with you? 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 What if I escape Is it real? Is it just a fantasy? 'Cause the unknown's pulling me. We could leave this place, freedom ours to chase. What if I escape with you? What if I escape with you? What if I escape with you? What if I escape with you?
Yeah! It's a lot of into the club tonight. What? But it's gonna be alright. Yeah. Cause me and my clique, we don't give a fuck. Trick Daddy, you got it. Let's go. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. Let's go. If you want it, you can get it. Let me know. I'm about to break this thing up. If you want some, come get some. 'Cause where I'm from.
Hello, wrestling fans. I am your Not So Humble Correspondent, Robert Black, here for FTW Network. And I'm making this short as a companion piece to this upcoming week's FTW Future Focus episode, which will be an old school hosted by my friend and yours, Tony Motown Allen. And one of our major subjects is going to be the Von Erich family and their importance to wrestling history. And I felt that this would be a great time to do a movie review of The Iron Claw. It was recently opened December 22nd, starring Zach Efron and Jeremy Allen White. And a mild warning for spoilers for this review, but I think that if you come into this movie as a professional wrestling fan, you're going to experience it a lot different than a general audience would. And the reason for the spoiler warning is that if you're unfamiliar with the history of the Von Erich family, then I want you to go into this movie completely blind because it will help you experience the emotions that a hardcore wrestling fan like myself would not necessarily experience because we watched the whole thing in real time. But frankly, I can say unequivocally that this movie is the best portrayal of professional wrestling ever put to film. And that is mainly for two reasons. Number one, it takes the industry seriously. It doesn't become an unintentional farce like movies like No Holds Barred or Body Slam do, and it's not played for pure idiotic comedy like, God forbid that I say the name, but Ready to Rumble. If you have ever seen that movie or were dragged to that movie by a well intentioned wrestling fan, then God have mercy on your soul. That was a horrible piece of garbage. And thank God that the Iron Claw is not that far from it. The second selling point is that the movie is cinematography and casting was impeccable. It looks exactly the way it should, and 97% of the casting was absolutely spotless. The 3% I'll get to here in a second. But overall, a fantastic piece of cinematography, and I'm hoping that the Oscars will recognize that. Uh, the director, Sean Durkin, should get an Oscar nod, as well as Kevin Anton as Harley Race. He did a fantastic job. Holt McElhenney as Fritz von Erich captured picture perfect to the real guy. Just amazing casting all around. Even the leads, Zach Efron and Jeremy Allen White, did fantastic jobs in their roles. However, I want to cover their parts in a second. Um, but mild spoiler warnings from here on out. Um, the pros of this show is that it strikes at your heartstrings. If you're a wrestling fan, you know the Von Erich tragedy and the supposed curse that followed them throughout their lives and careers. And the movie does not end on the sour note that a lot of reviewers are claiming it does. It's a difficultly emotional movie to watch and to get through, and it is meant to hit your heartstrings with a punch. But at the end, it gives you a glimmer of hope and shows you how Kevin Von Erich survived and how, as the last brother, he pulled it all together. And that affected me personally because I lost a brother through unnatural circumstances myself. So this movie hit a little bit closer to home than it did when I was a fan watching it as it unfolded. But this the positives for this movie are absolutely off the charts, especially in terms of not only portraying professional wrestling in a positive light, but also taking seriously its downfalls too. It shows you how the industry can raise up somebody to incredible heights and then drop them to unimaginable lows. Now, there are a few cons to this movie, and as I said, professional wrestling fans are going to experience it a little bit differently than uh, regular audience goers because there are certain parts of the movie and certain nuances and details that are left out that may take it'll distract you a little bit. You'll still enjoy the movie because it gets 95% of everything right, but there are certain things that are missing. For instance, Fritz von Erich's obsession with the NWA World title. The reasons for that are not covered as well as they might be. It's mentioned and lightly touched on, but it doesn't really capture the essence of why he was obsessed and pushed his sons all for that belt, and the importance of it was not quite covered correctly. Um, the history of Texas wrestling is glossed over. It's not exactly covered in any kind of capacity, although it gets everybody right, from the Freebirds to Bruiser Brody, Gino Hernandez, and a few other, Harley Race in particular. It doesn't quite capture the importance that Texas wrestling, specifically the Dallas territory, had on the NWA as a whole, and I think that could have been at least covered a little bit more extensively than what it was. Um, Also, the importance of the camaraderie in the business was glossed over. Although they got all of the look right, they needed to delve into that part of the industry a little bit more, because it contributed to the rise of world class and also its decline, which needed to be covered a little bit more extensively, but they wanted to concentrate on the family drama for the benefit of mainstream audiences. I get that, but the importance of Texas wrestling should have been covered a little bit better. As far as the image of the Von Erichs go, this movie doesn't quite touch on the fact that the Von Erichs were rock stars and they lived like rock stars. And I think that was done in order to um, get Kevin Von Erich's cooperation more to the movie, to get his blessing, and it doesn't quite go to the area of puff piece for the Von Erichs image, but it comes close to that, and it doesn't do justice to the fact that the Freebird Von Erich feud was based off of those mirror images. The Freebirds were the partying, hard asses from Atlanta, Georgia, and the Von Erichs were the good and wholesome family boys from Texas, and that was what made that feud great. And protecting the Von Erichs image also doesn't quite fit with the way that Kerry Von Erich ultimately ended his life. It was because of that image that Fritz and later his sons harbored that ultimately drove Kerry to to taking his own life, because he wanted to protect that image. The drug charges that he was facing uh, toward the end, and protecting his wholesome family image, was kind of what drove him to that extreme, and that wasn't quite spelled out enough in the movie. Finally, I want to point out that Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White should have played the opposite roles. Um, Zac Efron was cast as Kevin Von Erich because Kevin is the main protagonist of the movie, and they wanted the more famous name on the marquee. But I think that Jeremy Allen White should have played Kevin instead of Carrie, and that Ephraim should have played Carrie Von Erich, because Ephraim had to really build up his body for the role, and he did that well. It's just that Kevin Von Erich was the high flyer of the group. He was the cruiserweight. He was really built, but he was lean, like Ravishing Rick Rude. And uh, I guess it was more of a face issue that Zach looked more like Kevin in the face, but more like Carrie in the body. But Carrie was the really bulky heavyweight of the brothers, so that casting should have been reversed. And finally, you had Aaron Eisenberg playing Ric Flair, and he did his best. He did an admirable job in that role, but I'm sorry, Ric Flair is uncastable. They would have been much better off doing a deep fake of Ric Flair, but A24 Studio probably couldn't afford it. Or done some archival footage of the actual Ric Flair back in '83 when the matches that he had with Kevin were supposed to have taken place. Um, but no, nobody can play Ric Flair except Ric Flair, and there was just no way of capturing the essence of who that guy was in the early '80s. Um, except maybe Jay Lethal, but no, that wasn't going to happen. But all in all, the movie is fantastic. I give it 4.75 stars out of 5, except for little nitpicky mistakes that a lot of time compression in this movie because they had to cover from 1979 to 1993 primarily, and that's why a lot of stuff didn't get covered the way it should have. But a fantastic movie, an instant classic. And if you want to learn more about the actual story of the Von Erichs and you're not familiar with it, then go to YouTube and especially watch our upcoming FTW Future Focus hosted by Tony Motown Allen. We will cover that. We'll cover the Freebirds and a whole lot more, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So check us out on YouTube, subscribe, and do all that wonderful stuff. And look up the Von Erichs versus Freebirds feud, Texas wrestling, and all of that, and inform yourself because it's a deep dive into a unique aspect of professional wrestling that is just soup for the wrestling fan's soul. So I am your not so humble correspondent, Robert Black, and I will see you in the future.
Hit it. Oh, how you feel, brother?
Feeling good.
You feel good?
Feeling good. It's groovy.
Play so much bone, brother. How you feel, man?
I feel all right.
I call your name. I don't want no people to know you're in here. How you feel, fella? Hey, yeah. Sure getting down. Look at him. Ha. We're gonna have a funky good time. 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 Let's take 'em up, Fred. We gotta take you high, yeah. Ow! All right. You wanna do it again? You wanna do it again, huh?
Yeah, let's go on with that.
We gotta take you high, yeah. Hey, brother.
Yeah.
Now I want everybody, let Fred blow about 2 choruses, and then I want to wave you in. Let's go and do that with this now, all right?
Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna get that fella with the little horn over there. You got James Horn on me.
There's a change. Let's go.
Fred, can you take us